Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a 2000 Toyota Tundra. But it's not your average 2000 Toyota Tundra. No, this one's pretty unique. While it might not look like it, this has traveled over 400,000 original miles. That is crazy. Now, this is my friend Jesse's truck, and when I heard it had this many miles, I was like, I have to review it, because a lot of people responded positively to my brother's 2000 Toyota Tundra video that I did, but nobody seemed to mention owning a Tundra or hearing of a first-gen Tundra that had over 400,000. There was a lot in the 300,000 range, 200,000, but this is the first-gen Tundra that I've seen a video on or heard about that has clocked over 400,000 miles. I can't believe it. So today, I'm going to give you guys an overview on this specific truck. I'm going to break down the history of the first-gen Tundra a little bit more so than I did in my brother's trucks video. And I'm going to tell you guys what's still working on this truck and what's not still working. So, without further ado, let's get started. I should mention up front that it's fairly common knowledge within the trucking community that at least two second-gen Toyota Tundras have clocked over 1 million miles. But I have yet to hear about a first-gen Tundra doing that. Now, I could be wrong and there might be one out there, but this is the highest mileage first-gen Tundra that I've ever heard of. And what's even crazier about that is everything in this engine bay is original. Minus obviously the regular maintenance stuff like batteries, fluid changes, but the transmission and engine, all stock. That is wild, especially since this was Toyota's first attempt at a V8 in one of their pickup trucks. This is a 4.7 liter V8 that makes 245 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque. That is paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission in this particular truck, though a 5-speed manual was also an available option. Now this Tundra is a 2-wheel drive SR5 trim. That's pretty much the base model except for the upgraded V8 engine. The base engine was a V6, which was a carryover from the previous truck that Toyota made, the T100. Now there's kind of an interesting story behind that. Originally when they were designing the Tundra, they wanted to make a bigger truck from the T100 because it kind of was a little bit bigger than a mid-size, but it wasn't a full-size truck. And so they're like, we're going to make a full-size truck to compete with Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. And so they said, well, we call it the T100. Why don't we call our new truck the T150, the natural progression? But if you're anything into cars, you'll know Ford was not too happy about that because they have the F-150. And so they actually ended up filing a lawsuit against Toyota, and so they renamed it the Tundra. And honestly, I'm kind of thankful they did. I don't think the Toyota T150 would roll off the tongue as well as Tundra does. And that's the story behind how it got its name. When the Tundra originally debuted in 2000, there wasn't a lot of trim variation for the truck. It was basically just this SR5, and then it went right to the Limited. But that didn't stop Toyota from making some really weird special editions of this truck. For example, in 2003, to coincide with the third Terminator movie, they made a Terminator Toyota Tundra. That is absolutely wild, but it gets even crazier. If you follow NASCAR at all, you might know who Darrell Waltrip is. He's the guy that goes, boogity, 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 let's go racing. And they actually released a first-generation Tundra Darrell Waltrip edition. That is absolutely bonkers. I guess those two rank a little bit higher than the Modern Warfare Call of Duty Custom Edition Jeep, but slightly lower in my book than the Iron Man Hyundai Kona. That is gotta be the weirdest crossover movie tie-in vehicle thing that I've ever seen. Speaking of weird crossovers, some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that I'm wearing Goodyear sneakers. Now, I was completely unaware that these were even a thing up until last week, and I'm still kind of confused at why they are a thing. That's something I'm wrestling with in my mind. But I decided, you know what? I needed new sneakers, and why not go for those? Because it's kind of a funny joke. Actually, it inspired me to write my autobiography. Life's too short not to buy the meme shoes. Available where all fake books are sold. Moving to the rear of this Tundra, You can see it's beat up, but that proves that it was really used and it wasn't just garage kept and babied over its 400,000 miles. Finally, on the exterior, moving to the rear here, it's actually in decent shape overall. You can see dropping the tailgate, no dampened tailgate, but that's to be expected. They didn't really start doing that till recently on pickup trucks, and this one does not have a spray-in bed liner or a drop-in, but it was really used and it still held up. No major rust spots throughout the bed here. But as we conclude the exterior, that brings us to a new segment that I have on my show that is exclusive for this video that I am thrilled to tell you guys about. I like to call it Things That Apparently Happen to First-Gen Tundras Over Time. We're going to work on that title. It's definitely in development. But comparing this to my brother's first-gen Tundra, I started noticing things that were going wrong on this truck that also went wrong on my brother's truck. And if you own a first-gen Tundra, my guess is they probably went wrong on your truck, and I know a lot of first-gen Tundra owners watch these videos, so I'd love to know in the comment section if this has happened to your truck too. I'm going to list everything that both of these trucks have that has gone wrong. So, starting at the rear here, this is a brand new tailgate handle because both of these trucks' tailgate handles broke. So the latch there broke, so both these trucks have new tailgate latches. On this truck, he has rust right down here on the edge of the bumper. We replaced my brother's truck's bumper because of the same thing, though his was much further along and this whole section was rusted. So it seems like water gets in here and drips down because both of these trucks have rust down here as well. The right dome light on both of these trucks broke. That is such an oddly specific thing. I can't imagine that's happened to every first-gen Tundra owner. But my guess is when you have to replace the light bulbs in here, the tabs on here are so cheap and brittle that they end up breaking. The bolts that hold the front grille on usually rust out. This particular one is held on by zip ties. My brother's front grille is held on by flex tape. The last issue that I noticed between both of our trucks is that the key gets stuck in the ignition. Now both Jesse and my brother have noticed this recently on their first-gen Tundras, and I wonder if this is an issue that maybe you've faced too. So it's not like a regular ignition lock where you got to shake the steering wheel to pull it out. It's when you're going to pull the key out, it gets stuck about, see, it almost did it there for a little bit. It gets stuck about halfway in, and you really got to jiggle and pull, and then eventually it comes out. Now, that's very strange. I wonder if it's something just in the ignition of these Tundras that catches at a certain point because of the age of the truck. But if you have any other issues that you've had on your first-gen Tundra that maybe also I've talked about here, or even if I haven't, I'd love to know in the comments section below. I think that this could be a pretty fun conversation to have. Stepping into the interior really quick here, one thing I really like about these first-gen Tundras is with their access cab doors, there's actually a handle on the outside. It's not right here. So you can open the access cab, though you still do need to open the front door first. And there is a ton of space back here. And I really like this. You have a little fold-down armrest right there and a manually sliding window. All things considered, for as many miles as there are on this truck, it's in pretty nice shape. The cloth seats have held up fairly well. A little bit of wear on the driver's seat, but that's nothing compared to some of these other trucks. Now, this doesn't have a bench seat. This has a middle console area instead, but you know, like I said, all things considered, this interior has held up pretty well. If you would have had the four-wheel drive model, this is where your selector right here would have been for that four-wheel drive mode. But you know, column shifter, pretty standard on here, but all things considered, I know I've said that 3 times now, pretty nice. I mean, a little vacuum and stuff and a little detail, and this thing is bright and shiny as new. So overall, very nice condition interior. All right, this is my friend Jesse from college. He owns the truck. I'm starting this driving segment a little bit early because I've just discovered another thing. When you drop the truck into drive on the shifter, all the other gears and stuff, all the other modes have lights, but dropping it into drive, there's no light. Like the light burned out in the drive mode. That my brother's truck does that too. So that is really funny that is also apparently a Tundra issue. But driving in here, I guess I'm gonna have some experience with driving this at about half the mileage. My brother's has 180,000 miles on it, which is still, you know, for most vehicles quite a lot, but for these Tundras, it's like nothing. It's like oh, 180,000, because people expect these Tundras to get to where your truck is. But yours really 409,089 miles on this truck. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of the truck and your ownership of it?
Well, my father kind of got the truck way back 2000, 2001, before I was born, and pretty much just used it for a lot of things, like, because I had the truck originally, we were in Georgia, in Atlanta, and then we moved up here to PA, and the truck came with us. So
yeah,
we had to take all our stuff in the truck and take it up to PA, which was a lot of mileage in itself, just getting up there. And then we've also used it just to like help around with other people in the community. Since my dad's a pastor, it's like they need the truck for something, he's like, oh, I'll come and help. And then basically we just sometimes we went on trips with it. We took it back to Georgia, back up here to PA sometimes, depending. And then now he was like, I got older, got my license, and he was just like, he knew I needed a car because of work and stuff, and he was like, oh, the truck is still usable and it's still in good condition. Why don't you drive it? And honestly, when I first had the idea to drive the truck, I wasn't a truck driver, because I learned how to drive in a sedan, so it's completely different. It's completely different going from a sedan to a truck. But I was like, it's a car, I'm gonna take it. So basically, once I got the truck, and I've now been using it for almost 2 years now. So it's been very smooth. Haven't had much issues, other than like battery, because you know batteries are. And like, but yeah, it's been running very smoothly. I'm happy with how long it's been lasting for my family and for me. So.
This does not drive any different than the 180,000 mile Tundra that my brother has. They're no different. The check engine light's on, and there is definitely a whining from the belt in the engine. I can hear it, but for the most part, this truck handles really, really good. And just driving it around 30, 40 miles per hour, even on the acceleration, this picks up just the same. And that is wild to me at how good this feels to drive. The brakes feel really good. I'm sure at some point those were probably replaced, because those are usually replaced every few years. But overall, this truck handles really nicely, and I am just blown away at how many miles this has. It is just crazy to see the condition of this truck. And you know, it looks like a work truck because it has been used like that, but this thing has earned its stripes, and it is in good condition, all things considered. Opening it up here, all things considered, yeah, you hear that V8 go. I mean, Toyota clearly nailed this V8 on their first try, because these are such highly sought after trucks, and their value has continued to increase and climb. I'm sure that if you could sell this, which his dad doesn't want him to sell it, I'm sure you could still, for a truck with 400,000 miles, easily get 7,000 or 8,000 for this truck. I'm sure when we post this, there will be people in the comment section like, I'll pay 8,000 for that truck. But yeah, if you could get this to 500,000, that would be incredible. But I think this truck can get here. It's not necessarily on its last legs. I think that, you know, if you have to get a belt replaced up in the front here, wipe that check engine light, this truck could easily go another 100,000 miles. And the interior, it's not like a dump. It's like nice. You're like, oh, okay.
I can have some people in the car.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like it's 21 years old. It doesn't feel like that. Actually, it's 22, because I was born in July of 1999. This truck was built in May of 1999 for a 2000 model year. So this truck is older than I am. Definitely has more mileage than I do. And it's just so cool. So thank you for allowing me to drive this and review your car, Jesse. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it so much.
And well, yeah, no, this has been a really good experience, and just fun to explore this thing. Yeah, you never know who you know who has a unique and fun vehicle. It's always an adventure. But that's going to conclude this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Both of us are Christians, and I just really feel like I want to use my platform here on YouTube to be able to pray for you guys and interact in that way. So if you have any prayer requests, you can leave those in the comment section below. And I also like to do a weekly Bible verse. So here that is right now. And I hope no matter what vehicle you guys have, that it lasts you a long time and it serves you well. Take care.